In the Kremlin, in the early hours of the 5th of March 1940, Stalin finally sealed their fate. Stalin and a number of other senior Soviet figures signed one of the most notorious documents of the whole war. A document that the Soviet Union denied even existed until the fall of communism.
Теперь я слишком занят, чтобы заниматься этим делом.
Stalin's decision would lead to the murder of nearly 22,000 members of the Polish elite. Most of them were imprisoned in one of these three camps in the Soviet Union. Starting in April, those from Ostrogov were transferred a few hundred at a time to the city of Kalinin and its Nkvd prison. What happened here remained a secret until a Russian military investigation in the early 1990s uncovered the truth. And in the process found Dmitry Tokarev, who had helped arrange the killings personally.
I should tell you that on the first night they brought 300 people. I thought it was too many. The night was short and we could only work during the hours of darkness. I saw all that horror. They came in, and a few minutes later, Blokhin was wearing his special clothing. Brown leather apron, brown leather gloves with cuffs over his elbows. This produced a horrible impression on me. I saw an executioner.
Once the killers were ready, the Poles were taken from their cells one by one to an interrogation room, where their names were checked against the list of those to be murdered.
The mechanics of the killing were worked out by Blokhin, together with the commandant of our administrative board, Rubinov. They covered the doors to the shooting cells that led to the corridor, so the sounds of the shootings couldn't be heard. Then the accused, well, let's call them that, were brought through the corridor. They were brought into the cells to be shot.
The Nkvd killed around 250 people a night for several weeks, until all of the 6,311 Poles allocated to them had been murdered. But when Tokarev recounted the crime 51 years later, it was not the suffering of the Poles he remembered, but that of his own killers.
I want to say the following. It was certainly a horrible business. Rubinov, for instance, went mad. Pavlov, my first deputy, shot himself dead. Sukharev, my driver, shot himself dead. And even Blokhin shot himself dead.
There were three main killing sites, including this one in the west of the Soviet Union, the forest of Katyn, where nearly 4,500 more Poles were shot by open graves and then buried. In total, 21,857 Poles were murdered. A crime that had only been made possible because the Germans and the Soviets had agreed to dismantle Poland. Just 2 months later, the relationship between the Germans and the Soviets was shaken because the Germans conquered France in fewer than 6 weeks. On the 22nd of June 1940, Hitler signed an armistice